Hey, this is Rob from JTRpodcast.com, and this is Alexandria, a library in cinders. Insert Cinderella joke here. And this is a game with artwork from Vincent Dutrait and somebody called Asterman Studio. That's an unusual name. But the artwork on the front of the box shows some people running away from a library on fire, but they're not running away empty-handed. They have stopped to pick stuff up, and that's the whole point of this game. So each player is going to have a character. There is Tabitha, the scribe. We have Neferhotep, the architect. We have Octavia, the Roman secret agent. That sounds interesting and mysterious. And also we have not Leonidas from the Macedonian Royal Guard. Each of the players will get a deck of cards, and we'll also get one of these little timers to put on this time track here. I'm just going to explain that now because it's one of those games that's based on time. Whoever's furthest back on the time track will take their turn, and the turn will allow you to take an action, and the action will cost different time depending on what you're doing. So in this case, whoever's furthest back will go. If there's a tie, like there is at the start of a round, whoever's on top will go next. So in this case it's green, maybe they spend 2 time, and they move their track down. Then it'll be the red player's turn. That's how turn order works in this game. So this is very, very important. Another thing that's important are these cards. These are the ominous, portent, and dramatic end cards, and everybody's got 2 of those. Everyone will pick one. Every player in the game will choose one. The one that they don't want will be discarded. The one they do want will be turned face down. All the other players will pick one. That will go into a deck. Nobody will know what's in it. It gets shuffled up, and that will be put down, and will be drawn from at the beginning of certain rounds. And I'll go into that shortly. But another thing you need to do is build the library. So let's look at that now. So these are the library tiles, and as you can see on this side, they all have this nice artwork, and it all looks very nice and cute and adorable. It's all going to get set on fire soon. But the important thing is the artwork in the game doesn't matter. So what you're looking for is every single tile has 4 entrances and exits, and that's all that matters on the tiles. There are also 4 tiles with the player's starting zones on, so you choose the ones depending on the game. So let's just say we're going to play with red and green because it's nearly Christmas. You then take 4 tiles per player from the normal deck. You take the player ones and shuffle them in. I'm not going to do that now. And then you're ready to build your library. And how this works is you take the top card of the deck and you put it down. Then the next card determines where it goes. So here you can see on the back you have the tower facing you. So it would go this way. So then you put it so the light is shining out the door of the last tower you place. So it would go here. And then you flip it over. And then the next one, you do the same thing. It goes there. So you flip it over. And it will continue like this until you put all the tiles down. Now the only time that rule changes in case of, say, this one, maybe this one was supposed to go, no wait, that one can go there, ignore that. Look at this one, okay, this one was supposed to go here, but it was coming off this tile, supposed to go there, but it can't. So you just follow it all the way to where it can go, and then you place it there, and then you do that to all the tiles are laid out. So I'll do that now. Right, so there we go. By the magic of editing, the library has been set up. We've got all the tiles out here. Now we've got all these individual tiles on them now. And these are the different furnitures in a room. There's 4 in a room. The ones containing the player standees, so here we've got the green standee there. The ones that have those in are turned face up, plus any orthogonally adjacent rooms, so like this one and this one. And then the same here for the red player as well. And the tiles have little dots on the back to show you which ones are used in which player count. And you choose a random start player to put on the top of the time track. Everybody starts around with 8 time, and you're ready to go. So whoever's on top will take their turn, and here are all the actions you can take. There's not too many of them, so we'll go through them quite quickly. For 1 time, you can move, so you can spend a time, and you can move onto an orthogonally adjacent tile. And when you do that, because you're always flipping the tiles up that's orthogonally adjacent to a character, you do that straight away, so all these would get turned face up. For 1 time, you can draw a card, and that's just basically taking a card from your deck. So maybe the green player draws this skill mastery card. You can take a card action. It says there the cost is variable because it depends on the card. So this one is a cunning plan, and it costs 2 times. It shows you in the middle. And so that's just basically you pay that much time and you activate the ability on the card. However, some are slightly different. So look at this organized search. You can see it's got 2 white time and 2 black time. So what that means is, if you want, you can spend 4 time and take this action, no problem. However, 4 time is half your time in a round. So what you want to do is you want to be next to or in the same room as somebody else. So now the green player is next to the red player. What they can do is they can say, okay, I'm going to pay 2 time and you're going to pay the other 2. That's what this black symbol here means. So the green player will play 2 time, the red player will play 2 time. The red player will get a point as compensation for what they call assisting in big finger quotes. Some cards have an anchor symbol at the top, and that means they get anchored onto their player board. So we'll take a look at the green player's player board now. There's an anchor slot there, and you would basically just put the card on it, and during your turn you could take that action once per round, just by paying the cost in the normal way and taking the ability. And when you do that, you would put one of your hero markers on there to show that you've used it for the round. And that's the fourth action you can take, is take an action on your hero board with a variable cost. And the last one is finally just wait. You can just pay a time, do nothing. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it isn't, but it's there as an option. You can't just skip your turn and not take any time doing so. And the final action is to respond. This is obviously doesn't have a cost, it's done in another player's turn, and it's cards with the respond symbol on. So this card's got one in the middle, this is sneaky, and there's one in the middle there, and you have this ability which you play on another player's turn. Also, the green, yellow and blue player have one permanently on their player board there in the middle. So this Tabitha is a collector, and she could take that ability out of turn as well. Then once all players have got down to 0 time on the time track, they are put up in order, the same order they were, back to 8. And so red player will be first starting in the next round. And then you burn it down. So that's the next phase, is the burning phase. And you're going to burn off a number of rooms equal to the number of players. So in a 2-player game, there's 10 rooms in total. There's 8 normal rooms and they're both the start player rooms. The game lasts 5 rounds, so obviously all the rooms are going to burn through the game. And there is a hierarchy to how you decide what gets burned. So the first thing you look for is if any room has a fire token in it. And the fire tokens look like this, and these get placed in rooms from various abilities from certain players, particularly this evil red person. So if the fire token goes into a room, that is going to be the first one to go, and you just remove that room from the board. But if it's going to split the board off, so like here, if it was going to take this room out, which leaves these 3 rooms around the outside split from the rest of the board, you kind of ignore the fire token for now. But say it was on this one, that room would go. So if there's no more fire tokens left, or there's none that you can use, you then look for a room with no heroes in that's adjacent to only one other room. So that leaves this one, and this one, so they're all adjacent to one other room. There's 3, you're only going to get rid of 1 in a 2-player game, so how do you decide who does it? Well, it's whoever took the last action in the last round gets to pick. So the red player did that, they took the last action, so they would choose to get rid of this room, for example. And then you can see from the rest of this card, you follow it down, so it's a room with no heroes in that's adjacent to only 1 room, a room with a hero in that's adjacent to 1 room, a room with no hero adjacent to 2 rooms, and a room with a hero adjacent to 2 rooms. So that's the kind of hierarchy you're going to go for, and you're always going to start back at number 1 each time you get rid of a room to see if a new rule applies. And then you do a little bit of cleanup. You remove any fire tokens, you remove water tokens. Water tokens can be placed in rooms through various abilities, and it stops that room from burning, always useful. Any hero tokens on your player board, or any that happen to be out in play, because one of the characters gets to put hero tokens out on the board for various actions. Any played cards that you played during the round are then discarded, and cards that are slotted, the ones with the anchors, they stay on your board until replaced, so they will just stay there until they got rid of, not going to get rid of in the cleanup phase. And then you'll play a new round and lather, rinse, repeat. And depending on the round, depends on this chart, and depends whether you get to reveal a dramatic end card or not. So in a 2-player game in round 3, you're going to get the top card of the deck. So there's the deck, the top card, it's the red one, and you will use the top section here, the ominous portent, or portent, I don't know how you pronounce that. So in this case it says for each time a furniture tile is discarded during a hero's turn, that hero scores a point. And that's going to be a rule that stays in play for the rest of the game. And if you're playing with a 4-player game, so that you're going to get multiple of these in play, all of these rules will last until the end of the game. If it's the last round of the game, you reveal it, and it's going to be the dramatic end. So in this case, at the end of the game, every hero scores 1 point for each different trait among their rescue cards. So we haven't talked about those, so let's look at those now. There are 3 types of rescue cards. There are item cards that look like this, there are book cards that look like this, and there are people cards that look like this, and they all have pretty much the same sides. They have the image in the middle, they have 2 traits, so in this case Roman mathematician and Egyptian mathematician. There's also Egyptian philosopher, and some of them belong to collections, not all of them though, some of them, and that's quite important for scoring. And you're going to gain those through various abilities from your cards. So I know what you're thinking, because you're evil people. What happens if a room burns and somebody's in it? Well, everyone has an ability at the 3rd slot of their player board, and in this case it says after the room you're in is burnt, move to a nearby room, discard 1 book or item and lose 6 points. So if you're the green player, you don't want to get burnt, because you're not only going to lose 6 points, but you're also going to lose some of the valuable cards that you've been collecting throughout the game. However, Octavia is the secret agent, so after a room she's in burnt, she moves to a nearby room, and she scores 4 points, but then loses 1 point for every furniture in that room that was burnt. So if this room here was burnt, it's got 4 furniture in, she'd move, score 4 points, lose 4 points. So she's obviously trying to get rid of furniture out of that room. Then when she moves out of there, she's going to score 4 points and lose 1 point. And that's simple. That's some of the red player's special ability. After 5 rounds, the game ends and you total up your victory points. On top of your victory points you'll be scoring through the game for assisting and doing other stuff, you're going to score 4 collections. You get 4 points for every pair of cards with the same collection, and you get 8 points if you manage to get 3 of a kind. That's quite difficult to do. It's just took me a long time to flip through the deck to find 3 of the same. As you can see on the back of those, they come from different decks, so it's hard to do. And whoever has the most points is the winner, and whoever doesn't have the most points basically just died in a fire. Let's go to the positives and the negatives. The positives are, first of all, this is one of my favourite games with this time track. I've played a few like Tokaido, Francis Drake, Dragon and Flagon, but I like the way they do it here. It's just there's a lot of game to it, more game than Tokaido, and it's a much simpler game to play than games like Dragon and Flagon. It's a lot easier to explain. But the positives, the 4 characters are all very different. So the red one, as I said, likes to burn. She's the secret agent. She wants to burn things down. She gets points for removing. Because most of the time, if you interact with something, you just basically use it. And then it just stays on the board. But the red player, like I said here, discards an armoire. So that armoire would be removed from the game. And like I said earlier, when she moves out of that room now, she's going to gain a point. Instead of gaining 4 points and losing 4, she's going to gain 4 and lose 3. So that's better for her. The green player is the scribe, and she likes her stuff, so she's always drawing cards and trying to get stuff and take as much as she can with her and try and get those sets. Gets lots of points from sets at the end of the game because she's done a lot of set searching. The sort of creamy, browny, yellow player loves a lectern. Nobody likes lecterns more than this guy. You get points for interacting with lecterns. If there's no lecterns, you're in trouble. Seriously. Finally, the blue player is quite mean. They've got these like trap cards that they can play. They put their hero tokens on the board, and they've got these cards that they can also manipulate players. They can move other players to push them into and give them negative ability with these traps, which is all fun. I like the setup of the board. I like the way this is done with the tiles and the light on the back. That's quite interesting and unique. I've not seen that before. It means the board's never the same any game you play. I like the overall idea of the game. It's not a theme that's been explored much, I don't think. I can't think of many other games that talked about the Library of Alexandria burning down, but yeah, that's all good. I also like that they've kept the sort of actions to a minimum as well, and not too many. All the cards are different, they all have the different things, but there's not too many there. And the same here with you've got a little screen you can use to track your available actions and also hide your points behind it. Negatives are the cardboard standees. I mean, I don't usually have a problem with them, but these have got an extra tiny base as well. And also, you're trying to put them on a tile. If you put them at a diagonal, they kind of fall over. You've got to make sure you get them right in between the furniture tiles on the board, because any slight tilt and they go over. They're not very sturdy, which is a shame. Another thing, I think it's kind of a game you have to play with 4 players, because the green player has cards that get rid of lecterns and the yellow player has a card that likes lecterns. And so I think you need to play with all the characters, because you've obviously got the red character trying to burn the library down and try and trap people in, because they want to get trapped in themselves, but if they can trap other people in a burning room as well, they'll score points and everybody else will lose points. So that's good for them. Another negative is, as I said with the lecterns, on the last 2 rounds playing my first game, there were no lecterns left, so I had a ton of cards I couldn't use because it said interact with a lectern. There wasn't any. So that was a pretty dull final 2 rounds for me. But overall, yeah, I think it's a good game. It's one I do want to play again. I think I need to play it a couple of more times to see if it's a game I want to keep. It's on the borderline at the moment. It's not quite on my shelf, but it's not on my sale pile. It's kind of hovering in limbo in between. But if you get a chance to play it, it's definitely worth a try. That's Alexandria. Remember to like this video if you found it useful, share it to let others know about it, and subscribe to the channel for more Game Day First Play videos, as well as other board game related content. You can find me on Twitter at JTR Podcast, to find the blog and podcast at jtrpodcast.com. I've been Rob, aka Jesta ThaRogue, and I'll see you soon.